Good morning and welcome. Welcome indeed to another edition of the Mark Moses Show here on a Thursday in the beautiful Space Coast area of Florida. And we are always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys Studios. Take back control of your life. Call today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Also want to give a shout out to Chumley's Depot in downtown Melbourne, where friends meet, official sponsor of What's on Tap. Yes, go check out Chumley's Depot. I know they had comedy night last night, and they'll have Sunday Fun Day coming up this Sunday with live music. And that'll be going on all summer long. And our great friends at Walk On Sports Bistreaux in Vieira, home of the $5 Tito's and $5 22-ounce Busch Lights. All day, every day at Walk On's Vieira, right there. Yes, behind the gigantic Walmart. I'll give them the shout out. Walk-On's Sports Bistro. Let's bring him on. He's standing here watching me talk about advertisers. He is my great friend, clean shaven. He has nice teeth as well. He is Tim Walters, Mr. 321. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing excellent. And you know what, Mark? The more sponsors, the better. So more people get out, sponsor Mark. I could sit here for 5 minutes and listen to him rattle off sponsors. And I could even add some things as I have with walk-ons. Got to check out Chumley's. I still haven't gotten down there, but it is on my list. And of course, we always praise up in the top corner there, Anidjar and Levine. So thank you to all of them for supporting my friend Mark here. And notice, Mark, today I've got more in my nameplate here under the screen here.
Mr. 321/Florida Today. I imagine your bosses at the Florida Today newspaper are like, Tim, we love what you're doing there, but can you make sure it'll have after a while, it'll have like 9,000 things under your name. That's what it'll say. All the jobs you have. That's what we'll do.
Well, you know, it had said Mr. 321. You were the one that pointed out that I didn't actually put my employer under there. So this week I figured, why not? I'll give a shout out to Florida Today.
And I like what you brought up also, and then we'll get to some Travis Hunter news. I'm just going to say this real quick for all of our fans out there, all 5 of them, what you said. There's 4. How many fans we have now? 3? What is it?
Let's say 4 now. I bet there's somebody else out there that likes me, yeah.
4. I agree. It should be, for my ego, it should me starting the show, and then it's 55 straight minutes of me rattling off advertisers, okay, who are on here. Then you and me talk for 2 minutes. That's what the show should be, so then I can go get my Mercedes-Benz or whatever car I'm going to drive. That's what it needs to be.
Okay? They could just be scrolling up the screen as we're talking.
Yeah, that's what it would be. All right, we got a lot to get to. All right, you told me this right before we came on. Travis Hunter, second pick in the draft to the Jaguars. What is the update on him as we're here in May?
Yeah, this is really cool. He posted on X just not even 45 minutes ago at about 10:20 this morning that he had walked across the stage and received his degree at the University of Colorado. So he posted on X a picture of him still in his cap and gown, which is really a cool thing to hear. Look, he was in college for only 3 years, 1 at Jackson State, 2 at Colorado, and now he's got a college degree. And here's the thing, Mark, he's now got to travel 1,200 miles, 1,700 miles quickly across country because he's got rookie mini camp starting tomorrow. So he's not going to have a lot of time to celebrate, but it's really cool to hear that he got his degree in anthropology. Do you know what anthropology is, Mark?
I think my buddy Gabe from high school has this as a degree. Okay, he's going to kill me now. I am not sure what it is exactly. It's not sociology. It's not psychology. It's not broadcast journalism. What is anthropology? What do you learn exactly?
Yes, it is the study of humanity encompassing all aspects of human life, past and present. So he can tell us why people are crazy.
Yeah, you're right. I'd show up as the guest speaker and I will say, we are screwed as a society. That is your update on anthropology. I'm sorry. And by the way, I like also that he got his name retired at the University of Colorado, him and Shedeur Sanders. So doesn't graduate yet, already has name retired at the stadium, then gets the degree. I feel like that's a little backwards, but I think if you're Travis Hunter, you'll take it.
Well, you know, they also had a great record of 13-12, so I'd be retiring names too. But you know what? He did take a program that was in total obscurity because weren't they like 0-12 just a few years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, you are absolutely right. Before Deion Sanders, they might have been one of the worst programs in all of college football. And there's over 100 teams that play. And you're right. They were 1 or 2 wins a year. They're now out of the basement. They are. And the question is, can Deion keep this going? Can he make them better moving forward without his son and Travis Hunter?
Well, we'll see how dedicated to the program he is, or maybe he puts in one more year to show people I'm going to stay around, but maybe he's looking for a more desirable job. You never know what's in Deion's head. Maybe he looks to go to the NFL. Some people had kind of said, hey, maybe he could go to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, that might be a little bit of a leap. I know Jerry Jones is a big Deion guy. But, some people were thinking that if Mike Norvell continues to struggle, could you see Deion go to Florida State? There's a lot of things that go into that, but he's back for another year. He's recruiting. He's trying his best. So, Deion will move on without the 2 centerpieces of his team from last year, one being his son, one being Travis Hunter.
We're here at Tim Walters, Mr. 321/Florida Today. That's what it says on the screen there. You're probably not going up for mini camp. I know you'll have reporters there with your Jacksonville newspaper for Jags mini camp for the next couple of days. But when you go up, because I know you usually do for training camp or maybe a game, but I'll just say training camp in July and August. How many reporters you think are going to be mobbing Travis Hunter once we get? I mean, it feels like Trevor Lawrence will have no one interviewing him and everyone will be around Travis Hunter. Do you feel like that's what's going to happen?
Yeah, Mark, and I've got some experience with this in other places too. I'll give you a couple of examples. Way back in 2003, if you remember, well, you weren't here yet, but the Florida Marlins had left this area of spring training and the Montreal Expos came in. And in 2003 and 2004, they were the Montreal Expos. I was the Associated Press correspondent while also working for Florida Today. I would go to their games. It would be me, the guy from MLBBaseball.com, and the lady who was down here from Montreal. There were like 3 of us, maybe 4. There was a radio guy. Then in 2005, they became the Washington Nationals. And then all of a sudden, the press box looked like Lollapalooza. You had the Washington Post and the Washington Times and all these TV stations and, MLB and me. And it was insane. Like you couldn't find a place to sit in the press box. That's what it's going to be like in Jacksonville with Travis Hunter now. I mean, he's a lightning rod. I got to tell you, he's kind of delightful to listen to. He's really got it down, his PR with the media and everything. And he's also a freak athlete. So the good news for fans is if you were able to get one of the few tickets on Saturday, they're opening up about 90 minutes of practice to the general public with the rookie mini camps. I'm sure you're not going to see tons of things, but what you will see is, the Jaguars, they drafted the quarterback from Memphis, who they're ultimately looking to be their backup guy for the future for Trevor Lawrence. You've got Travis Hunter. So you might see some nice, quarterback to receiver action out there. I'm sure you'll see him playing a little bit of defense, just a little bit of a showcase to show what he can do. But, it's not a ton of time. They're not opening up a lot of media time either. They're giving us a little time on Saturday, a couple of interviews, nothing Friday, nothing Sunday. So we're just going to get a little bit of a taste. And then, of course, Mark, next Wednesday, the NFL schedule release. So the next 7 days are going to be awesome if you're an NFL fan.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. My advice for people, if you're here in Brevard County or even you're in Daytona, Orlando, the day you should go for training camp is what I did 2 years ago, is go to the open practice at the stadium when they do that, because you get to go for free parking. And I know, look, maybe they updated, but when I went, free parking, free admission to the stadium, right? And you get to see the team play, and they practice and they scrimmage. That's a cool day to go because you're at the stadium at least and you get a seat. I tried doing that for the Dolphins. I think we tried doing that last year, my dad and I. We were going to drive to Hard Rock Stadium for open practice for free, and then a hurricane almost started hitting, so we couldn't go. Usually a Florida story is an excuse. But yeah, if you're a Jaguar fan and you want to see Travis Hunter, my advice, if you want to go for free, drive up 95, go to the practice at the stadium, and when they release that schedule, that's when you should go. That's my suggestion, Tim.
Yeah, and those are big merch days too, because the fans are coming for free, so they've got a little extra money to spend. And trust me, they're pushing the merch. The number 12 jersey for Travis Hunter is just selling off the chain right now. Already one of the top selling jerseys in the entire NFL. So And like I said, he actually seems like a very fun and engaging person in the little bit where he's been exposed to the Jacksonville media. And we're going to get to see more and more of him. Games are going to be crazy. The press box, which I can tell you for Jaguars games, not always the most packed place, but he's going to put media in seats. He's going to draw all of these people. He's going to draw more interest in the Jaguars. And, when things like that happen, Mark, some free agents start to look at Jacksonville and say, hey, I want to go there and play with them. So maybe in the next couple of years, you can also lure some free agents, some good free agents there if the Jaguars start, really going in the right direction, which, many in Duval hope they will.
Have you ever been to Buccaneers training camp before?
No, I have not been over for the Bucs training camp.
I've done that. I think I've gone 3 times. And every time I've gone, I get there at like 7:45, 8 a.m. in the morning. And this is early August, and it's already 90 degrees outside. And I'm on the side, and I know this happens to you with Jaguar stuff. So I'm on the sideline. I'm about to pass out, and it's 90. How are those guys in those jerseys practicing with the pads? I don't understand how you don't just pass out. But I went, especially, I think it was 3 years ago. So it was the final season of Brady. And I was like, I have to go. So I like stood by Brady up close. I had to see the GOAT, as they call him, in person. I have to go. So should we make a world tour like we're a rock band? Should we go to different training camps this year? Should we do it?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go over and see the Bucs training. I love watching Baker Mayfield. I think he's just a fun player to watch. Obviously, you got a great team over there. I know that they're over on the West Coast. I don't know what the Gulf breeze is like for them, but I got to tell you, it was stifling at Jaguars training camp in late July, early August. And, I actually dress like you see here. I'm usually in a long sleeve shirt. I have khaki pants on. I dress more formally because as the editor, I want people to have, a tiny modicum of respect for me, Mark. They see a guy wearing I wear a nice round brimmed hat. So I look important. I don't know if I am, but I look it at least. But yeah, it gets hot. It gets swampy. And but it is so much fun. You get to see the players up close. The fans, they have a good old time. I don't know how all these people are getting off work on a Wednesday at 1 p.m. to come watch training camp. And you've got to survive the thunderstorms. One year we got pushed inside in the Miller Electric Center because there was lightning and rain in the area, and they've got a beautiful indoor facility there. So, obviously fans can't get in there, but we as media are able to still go and watch a little bit. But it's worth it. You're learning the new faces. You're seeing some guys just kind of getting warmed up, and like I said, you get to see Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence in a way that you don't get to see them during the season.
2 years ago, I was at SEC Media Days in Nashville, and they let us, there was like a private party at the Tennessee Titans Stadium. I think that's the worst stadium in football. Like, it's so old, and I know they're getting a new stadium. Like, they deserve it. It's not like the Atlanta Braves where they had Turner Field for 20 years, then got a new stadium. Like, I think Tennessee's worse. The Jaguars Stadium is the second worst in NFL football. It's awful. So I bring this up. So I saw the Titans one in July. Then a couple weeks later, like I said, I drove up to Jacksonville, saw the stadium, and I'm like, man, this is a dump. And I feel bad saying that, but compared to others, like you go to Tampa or Miami, it is a dump. Like it's old, and they are going to renovate and have a brand new stadium. I bring this up because, Tim, like 10 days later, I was in London, England, and saw the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that that the Jaguars play in. Ooh, that was like, all right, so you're driving a Geo Tracker down the street, and then you abandon that and then get into a Rolls Royce. That's the feeling it was. Dude, that thing in London was incredible. State of the art. And what it did was, I think you had the soccer field, and then it turns into like your Transformers where the grass, the field opens up to make it into an NFL like field. It was amazing. And I hope the new Jaguars stadium, I hope it has that Rolls Royce type feel to it when they finally finish that.
Yeah, the renderings certainly look like they do.
Oh, yeah.
The skeleton of the stadium is structurally fine. They've got to add shade, they've got to add better amenities, better bathrooms, better boxes, you name it, which they're going to do to the tune of about $1.5 billion.
Sure.
They locked it in now, but who knows? Maybe the tariffs will make materials go up. You never know what's going to happen there. But you mentioned Tennessee. Their stadium was locked in a couple of years ago at $2.2 billion. They're talking about building your Bears that new stadium for $3 billion. And now the Washington Commanders are getting a new stadium, and they're saying that will cost around $3.7 billion. Are they just making these numbers up, Mark? It's,
Yes.
Oh, that stadium, it's going to be $5 billion. Give me a break. What's going on here?
Yeah, and the biggest evil of them all is personal seat license, a PSL. It's the biggest evil, corrupted nonsense of all time, where you have to buy the right to purchase tickets every year. So that the tickets are in your name, the seat is in your name. You had to spend thousands of dollars for the right to own the seat to buy season tickets every year. It's insane. And they're all going to have it, every single one of them. My question for you is, and this is my biggest concern with all these new stadiums, are they all going to look the same? All of them? Like how the LA Rams stadium, which is a beautiful stadium in Los Angeles, but I don't want every stadium to look like that. You have to have some type of home field advantage. Like Wrigley Field in baseball, Fenway Park. You know who plays there. I don't want the future of football to be like, I don't know what stadium this is, where they all look the same. Am I crazy? Because I feel like this is an actual concern for football moving forward.
No, I mean, look, I don't think that the renderings I've seen for the Jaguars stadium look anything like, whether it be SoFi or AT&T Stadium in Dallas. So, obviously a stadium's a stadium. You can do like Ralph Wiggum and maybe just glue some pasta and some wings on the side of it. But aside from that, I mean, stadiums aren't going to look too different.
Well, everyone that builds a new stadium, it's not just for football. No, we want the Final Four. We want the college football championship, whatever that game's called now. We want that game. We want I'm trying to think what else you would take.
The next Taylor Swift concert.
Yes, we want the Rolling Stones, who, by the way, they'll still be touring in 5 years. Don't worry, they'll all be 85. Doesn't matter. They'll still be going. It's not just it's to have a Super Bowl, Final Four, college football championship game, and you're right, Taylor Swift, and maybe some NFL football. That's what all these stadiums are for. That's what it is.
Yeah, certainly. And, that a lot went into that when they were planning this Jacksonville stadium, is they want to lure more music acts, because that's one thing that Everbank, hasn't really done. And that's because, I mean, especially if you went there for a summer concert, you would just boil. You just die of heat in that place. It's bad enough in the fall. It's bad enough for all of those 1:00 games. Cause the Jaguars usually play like 13 1:00 games, cause nobody wants to see them in prime time yet. So, but we'll also see in the schedule release, I've done my predictions, Mark, whether the Jaguars will get a Monday night, a Thursday night, a Sunday night, that type of thing. So I'm really looking forward to the schedule release on Wednesday as well.
Oh, next Thursday, you know what game we get to play, and we do it every year, wins and losses. We get to make our predictions, which are going to be completely wrong, but we do it every year. All right, let me just ask you this. Whoever their week one opponent is, Travis Hunter's going to be out there. He's going to be playing defense. Are you throwing at him? Like, all right, you're a rookie. You've never played before at this level. If you're the opposing team, whoever it is, are you just gunning to Travis Hunter? Yeah, let's see you try to stop our wide receivers.
Okay, so there are layers to this question, Mark. So, we have to see if they're starting at home or away, because that's going to depend on their opponent. And I believe I mentioned last week, they haven't started a season at home in 4 years, maybe because of the star power of Travis Hunter and the fact that they start at home. Then you have to look at who would be their opening opponent. Who would they start the season with? So I would think if they do start at home, it's going to be one of two teams, the New York Jets or the Carolina Panthers. And I'll be honest with you, let's say it's the Jets. If you're, Justin Fields, do you really want that guy chucking toward Travis Hunter? He had 8 touchdowns to, I think, 12 or 16 interceptions last year in limited action. So I if I'm Justin Fields, I don't know if I want to test him out, or if I'm the head coach of Justin Fields, I'm not sure if I want to throw that way or not. And then Bryce Young, he had a nice second half of the season. He also throws a lot of interceptions. So that's another thing. You have to kind of look at who it is. Now, let's say they opened up against the Bengals because Joe Burrow's on the schedule. Yeah, Joe Burrow is going to try and take his shots at him because he can pick them apart. So again, it really depends on who that first opponent is.
That's a great answer. I just made up that question about 30 seconds ago. That was a fan. You bring the thunder. You do, Mr. Tim Walters. If it's Jets versus Jaguars, that's the team you grew up rooting for, the Jets, and you cover the Jaguars and you kind of root for them as well because you have to talk it 24/7. I think you might have to go for that opener. I think you have to for those because have you seen your Jets ever play live in person?
No, actually, yes. If they are, in fact, it is a home game, so I really want to go unless they do something like a couple of years ago they put, and it was in New York, but they put them on New Year's Eve. It's like, I hope they don't do something silly like that. But my thought is, Mark, and here's a couple of the predictions I made. If they don't open with the Jets at home, if it is a home opener, could very well be Carolina. Or it could be Indianapolis. They've opened the season a lot against Indy, but if they don't get the Jets at home, I think that could end up being their London game. I think their London game is either going to be the Jets or Carolina. That's my own personal thought.
Carolina. It's going to be Carolina versus the Jaguars in London. That's what it's going to be right there. We're not going to lose this New York sports fan money by throwing them in London. Okay. It'll be in Florida. We're going to make money off that game. All right.
Yeah, and that's my thinking too, because the Jets are going to pack a stadium. The Panthers, they always send bad games to Europe, so they're probably still wondering. Maybe that's why it's not catching on in Europe. Maybe we need to give them a good matchup.
Yeah, I know this morning there was some announcement the White House had cut some deal with United Kingdom over tariffs. Maybe that was part of the deal. The NFL has to, because Goodell was at the White House a couple days ago. Maybe part of the deal, we have to send a big time team to that London game. Okay.
Yeah, stop sending crappy opponents over there. Come on.
All right. We'll give you the Chiefs. Just sign this tariff deal. Let's go. I told this to my dad the other day. I have a really bad feeling. Really, it's in my stomach. And he got very quiet because he thinks I might be right. All right. So Philadelphia is the Super Bowl champions. They're going to start the season on Thursday night. That's what happens. I'm a little sick to my stomach. Are they going to put my Bears on against the Eagles to start the season, which I don't want? But then the one I think is going to happen, okay, and I could be wrong. I think Sunday Night Football is going to start with their opener. I think it's going to be Bears at Commanders, and it's going to be a rematch of what happened last year with the Hail Mary play. And they're going to put us right back there. And then it's going to happen again because the Bears never learn. That's what I think it's. So what would be worse? We have to start the season against the tush push and get killed, or the Hail Mary against Washington? What is a worse scenario for me on national television?
Probably Philadelphia would be the worst scenario, but Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels will forever be linked to one another, and so I would love for that to be your opening game. I think that would be a great candidate for a Sunday night game. I don't think that they would put those two on Monday night, and I don't think they would open the season on a Thursday night with them, but I think that one has Sunday night potential written all over it. Jaden Daniels is now a superstar, and Caleb Williams wants to show, hey, this guy taken after me is not better than me. So I think that's going to be a great one, Mark.
Well, if someone approaches me, Mark, we want you to host a watch party for Bears Commanders. No, I have to be in my bunker alone, pacing back and forth. Okay. I can't be in front of people. I still have emotional scars from that loss. I can't get over it. I can't. My brother also. So last year he took his family. They went to Indianapolis and saw Bears at Colts. And it's the first time ever he's seen his team play on the road. And he really liked it. So he's like telling my dad and I, okay, where can we go this year? You guys should fly and we'll all go. So he's like, hey, we should go maybe to the Eagles game. And I'm like, are you crazy? We're going to get garbage cans thrown at our head. Are you nuts? We're going to have to bring brass knuckles and maybe security. This is the worst case scenario. I'm not going to Philly. Look, I feel like I'm a tough guy. No way. I'm not getting kicked in the back of the head and then vomited on with those jabronis. I'm sorry. I'm not. No. What are your thoughts? I'll let you talk.
I'm still thinking about, are you a tough guy? I've got a good sports argument here, Mark, because the story I have coming out Monday, I'm ranking the 14 quarterbacks that the Jaguars will see this year. And
Yeah.
my number one and my number two came down to Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes because they play the Bengals and Chiefs. Who would you put 1-2 on between those two?
Mahomes. Mahomes is one. Even though Joe Burrow, he had 2 cracks at him in an AFC championship game and could have won both of them. One, he's the only AFC quarterback that has beaten Mahomes when you think about it in the playoffs. It's Mahomes is number one. Because he's won how many Super Bowls has he been to now? 5? How many is
Four, it? 4, right? 4 and 5 years or 4 and 6. Well, whatever it is, regardless, right. I ranked Burrow first because last year Joe Burrow looked like a video game more than anything. He had 5,000 yards, over 40 touchdowns. He's got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Look at the receivers that right now that they're going into the season with Kansas City. I actually earlier this week, I posted the top wide receiver duos in the NFL because I wanted to see where Brian Johnson, got AC/DC on the mind, where Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter would rank for the Jaguars. And I had number 1 being Cincinnati. I had the Jaguars potentially having the number 12 wide receiver duo, but I had the Chiefs at 30th. I mean, Rashee Rice, that's your number 1 going into the season, and he's already got an issue. I honestly, the second guy has slipped out of my head. So you're just going to be relying on Travis Kelce. So I think that this year that Joe Burrow, again, is going to be, he'll at least put up bigger numbers. Does that mean they're going to win? No. Why? Because as great as he is, his defense is the yin to the yang. They balance out the universe, one by being ridiculously good, the other by being ridiculously bad. So I ranked Burrow ahead of Mahomes. And for the rest of that list, you'll have to go to Jacksonville.com when it posts on Monday morning.
Okay. Is this because Joe Burrow went to the Met Gala, however you pronounce it? Is it where he was there? Is that why he's cooler than Mahomes now? Because he's with celebrities? Is that it?
No, actually, it's because he's my fantasy football quarterback, and I've won my money league 2 years in a row thanks to having him.
All right. I think I can do this off the top of my head. I think Mahomes and the Chiefs have gone to 5 Super Bowls. Okay, so the first one, they're in Miami right before the pandemic hits in 1920. They beat the Niners. Then they lose the next year, the pandemic year, they lose to the Buccaneers. Then I think Joe Burrow beats him the next year, and Burrow loses to the Rams. Then he beats the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. Then he beats the Niners in overtime. Then he gets destroyed by the Eagles. So he's taken on the Bucs and, very weirdly, the Niners twice and the Eagles twice, and he's 3-2. He's been to 5 out of the last 6 Super Bowls. What? That is a wild stat. Did it.
Nice job too. He's the modern day Brady. I still, though, I heard, I can't remember who on ESPN said this, but I loved this comment that when Mahomes runs, it looks like his knees don't like each other. I mean, he is kind of losing a step as he gets older.
If we're doing sports trivia, which you've hosted, by the way, for me, which I appreciate, I believe he's won every Super Bowl MVP in the 3 wins. I think that's right. That is a good trivia question. Okay, so the MVP. So Jalen Hurts won MVP, and then Tom Brady won the other MVP. See, there you go. Yeah, I could do it. I can't. Now, if we go to a Moses family reunion and my mom goes, "Who's that person over there? You've seen them your whole life. What's their name?" Jalen Hurts? I'll have no idea what to say. Okay, I know this happens to all of us. So we have gone 29 minutes on football, and it's May. Okay, I wanted to talk Todd Golden with you. I know we have a top 5. It boggles the mind. We have all these other topics, but we said one thing about Travis Hunter and then went 29 minutes in a row with great content. What does that say about sports in this country when you think about it?
The NFL is king. It never takes a break. And I mean, we could sit here and talk about it, but also we know the numbers, the metrics, whether it be viewership, downloads, story page views. The NFL just completely dominates everything else, but it's also just it's kind of more interesting than a lot of other sports. The NBA can kind of take it on the jaw during the season because of players resting and things like that. Pretty interesting now in the playoffs, but there's not a week where a guy takes load management for one of their 17 NFL games. So, and you've got exciting players who are coming from college football, which is the number 2 sport in America behind the NFL. So, there's just so much funneling up to it. And I could sit here and ramble on all day and rattle off lists and rankings and listings and, facts and obscure things. So, I mean, that's the allure of the NFL. And I do have a good top 5.
Okay, let's go to the top 5 then. What do you have for us, Mr. 321?
Well, Mark, last week, because we're celebrating this entire month as the Mark Moses birthday month, I gave you a top 5 that consisted of about 9 things of the big things that happened the year you were born. So I had some great, ridiculous information last week. So this week, I have notable people who died in 1982, the year you were born. Are you ready for this list of famous people who died the year you were born?
Such an uplifting top 5. Okay.
This is a good list here.
Hey, they had to go so greatness could show up. It's a 1-for-1 trade, buddy.
In this case, because I have 7 names, it's a 7-for-1 trade. They went up and 1 came down.
Okay, what's first on the list?
All right, so these are 2 outside looking in, people that died in 1982.
I love the idea. They died, but they're not good enough. You should have died better. Is it you should have died better, or you should have done more while you were alive?
Well, and people might dispute my list, but I put Henry Fonda on the outside looking in. He had just won Best Actor for On Golden Pond, and the poor guy has a heart episode and dies. Yeah, that's never a good thing.
Henry Fonda, I'll just say this. So so I love Westworld. I love the original movie. And then he's, I think, in the sequel, which is terrible. It's called Future World. Okay, Westworld. If you don't know, Michael Crichton, the guy who made Jurassic Park, love the TV show first season on HBO, incredible. The movie, amazing, love it. But the sequel with Mr. Fonda, no, not so much. So take that not being in the top 5. There's a reason. Okay, what's 6?
All right, this one, another outside looking in, is Grace Kelly, who was married to the Prince of Monaco, Rainier III. She also won an Academy Award and 3 Golden Globes. Grace Kelly died in 1982.
Can you imagine, like, I'm at a high school reunion, Tim Walters? Hey, whatever happened to that Mark guy? Oh, he's solving mysteries in his Mustang in Florida. Did he ever get married? Yeah, he married the Princess of Monaco, but he made her move to Brevard County. That's what he did. They bought a bunch of land in Vieira. Okay, he didn't want to live in Monaco. Stop laughing. Who's in the top 5? Let's go.
All right, now number 5, he died on September 7th, 1982. Ken Boyer, who is not in the Baseball Hall of Fame, I was shocked to find out. I was introduced to Ken Boyer, Mark, if you remember the reruns of that old show on ESPN, Home Run Derby. It ran from 1959 to 1961. Some of the greatest home run matchups you'd ever see. Mickey Mantle was on there. Willie Mays was on there. Well, Kenny Boyer, I learned about him by watching old reruns. So anyhow, Kenny Boyer was a third baseman, coach, and manager who played for the St. Louis Cardinals, the Mets, your White Sox, and the Dodgers for 15 seasons. He won an NFL or an MVP award, but he's not in the Hall of Fame. That's a shame.
I would watch that show as a kid, even though it aired, I don't know, 25 years before I was born. Like that, yeah, I would watch that. That's funny you bring that up. I completely forgot it. I'd watch that, and what was that fitness show? Kiana's Flex Appeal on ESPN2. You ever see that show?
I used to like Bodies in Motion with Gilad Janklowicz. Anybody remember that from the 80s?
The other day, you're absolutely right. So it's funny you bring that up. There was an episode of Mr. Ed where I think he's like hitting the baseball. I think Sandy Koufax throws it to Mr. Ed and he starts hitting him. I swear this is real. I swear. That's what it is. Take that, Grace Kelly. Okay.
There you go. That's why she's on the outside looking in. And Kenny Boyer, he's in.
I love the interviews on the Home Run Derby show as well, where it's like, okay, make this as cliche as possible. Yeah. Don't say anything that could be controversial. So, Mickey, how do you like hitting those home runs? It's a lot of fun. Thanks, Mickey. Like, that's all you were saying. Not now. No. Just nothing. All right, what's next on the list?
Number 4, Anne Rand died on March 6, 1982. She was best known for her 2 books, The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged, which I was made to read all 1,200 pages of that when I was in college. So she was Russian-born but died in New York. Anne Rand, whose real name was Alyssa Rosenbaum.
This is the greatest top 5 list you have ever brought to the table, and it's going to be hard for anyone to ever top this list. Okay, amazing. Just incredible. What is number 3 then?
Number 3 is one of my favorite comic actors, Marty Feldman, best known as the bug-eyed Igor from Young Frankenstein. He was a British comedian, and he died on December 2nd, 1982. Do you remember Igor?
Yes, that movie is incredible. Is he also the guy? Okay, this is pop culture. I know people think we're insane when you hear us talk here. Is he also, did he play the guy that shows up at the end of Back to the Future 2, where Marty is stuck in 1955 and the guy brings him the envelope in the rain? And he's like, I've been waiting years to give you this envelope from Doc, who's stuck in the the Old West 1800s. Is that the same actor? Is that who you're talking about?
It couldn't be, because Marty Feldman died in 1982.
You know what I like? You know what you did, Tim Walters? You let me go for it, even though I was wrong. You knew right away I was wrong, and you let me go for it. Okay, you're like, look at this SOB. Let's let him slip and fall. Oh my God, that was awesome. Okay, what's number 2 then?
Number 2 is Satchel Paige. He was interesting. He was born in 1906, died June 8th, 1982. He played most of his baseball career in the Negro Leagues before Major League Baseball was integrated. And then he made his debut, Mark, at age 42 in 1948. Think about that. It's still the oldest debut of a player in Major League Baseball in history. Will probably never be surpassed. And he continued to play professionally and then in minor league baseball until 2 weeks shy of his 60th birthday in 1966. Satchel Paige, number 2 on my list, died in 1982.
Wait a minute. I'm 42 right now, and I'm turning 43 at the end of the month. You make it sound like he's 95 years old. Okay, oh, man, 42. Get the walker. Oh, this guy. Oh, my. What is he going to do?
Hey, remember, I'm well older than 42. So, hey.
Yeah, you're Tom Brady's age. That's right. That is right. What is number 1 on the list then, Tim Walters?
And number 1 is, he died on March 5th, 1982, sadly overdosed of heroin, cocaine at a swanky LA hotel. And that is John Belushi, best known for his role on the Blues Brothers and Saturday Night Live. He died in 1982. And Mark, he was originally the person that they had in mind to be Pete Venkman in Ghostbusters, but then he died. So Dan Aykroyd replaced him with Bill Murray, which ended up being a good thing for Bill Murray, of course. But sadly, we lost a great comic genius in his 30s at 1982.
Samurai Taylor. That's what I think. I think of that skit. I think of the chocolate donuts is just incredible. You could do that skit today. It'd be the same reaction, where he's like smoking the cigarette and like he's doing the triathlon. It's so great. It really is. It's so amazing. And yes, Animal House. And I think Animal House, that's supposed to be based on Southern Illinois University. But honestly, every university in Illinois in a small town could be based on Animal House. Dude, the stories I could tell you from my college days. I know you went to Florida, right? You went there.
We were the number 1 party school in America one of the years I was there.
I was once at a party, and the cops were going to bust it. We were freshmen. Okay, I'm sorry. I love we have an actual official, like we have sponsors for the show. I'm going to say this. So the cops were going to bust people. I knew this Italian guy from Chicago named Dean. He's like, well, I'm not getting arrested. He jumped out of a second-story window of a house, broke his arm, and in the moment with the adrenaline and probably alcohol, ran, okay? Went to a hospital, was in a sling for weeks. It didn't catch him, though. That's right. You ain't catching that guy or Sonic the Hedgehog. Ain't happening. I saw that. And that's a PG story, I could tell you, of my time at school. That's right. So you're shocked. I know. You can't. Look, coming from the guy who him and his knucklehead friends took one car from Gainesville, Florida to Key West, Florida. Okay? One, like you were in a clown car and you all drove down there. You know how far that is? It was worth it.
I drove it.
What was the automobile? What was it?
Oh gosh, it was I'm trying to remember. I was probably driving my old pickup, which was a 1980, what was it? An 84 GMC S15 Sierra. Probably had close to 200,000 miles. But Mark, you have to understand, back then, if a car broke, it was like Legos. You pulled a piece out, you put a new piece in, and the car kept going. Nowadays, cars are not made like that.
No, it's like your headlight went out. Oh, I'll just go to some AutoZone type place. I'll get a new light bulb. Oh, you ain't doing that now. Oh no, I'm sorry. You got to get through this computer first. No way. All right. His name is Tim Walters of Florida Today. My man, thank you so much for your help and have a great day.
I appreciate it, Mark. Let's celebrate 1982, which was also the first year of the A-Team, and I love it when a plan comes together.
And I'll just say this as a bonus. That list should just be called Take That, Grace Kelly. These people are more important than you. I'll see you around. Great stuff, Tim. Awesome.